same sweater and take a sip of coffee at the same time. That feels weird.
We can and we did.
Okay. Welcome to Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast, an act of revolutionary defiance and a celebration of the things that bring us comfort, solace, and joy as we work to reclaim our humanity together. I'm Carlos Kareem Wyndham.
And I'm Teresa Logan. Hey, Carlos.
Huh?
How's your nervous system doing today?
Little slower than yours, I guess, on the uptake. That was swift. I liked it. No dead time, no downtime, no airtime that is not filled, and that's what makes good radio.
Bye.
That's what makes good radio.
We really are wearing.
I'm just trying to remember.
Shirts.
Yeah, no, it's embarrassing. I'm trying to remember the answer to your question, which was
your nervous system. How's your nervous system doing today?
Right. Yeah, no, about like that. I think that was pretty demonstrative of how my nervous system is right now.
What does that mean?
Scattered. Though energetically much more even more focused and feeling if anything committed and further prepared to fight and to stand in solidarity because it's my country. Get out. ICE is kind of where it's at for me. Yeah. Not lots of fun. I feel like I am curious about how we are going to process what is happening right now. And that is the piece of it that for me kind of kicks up like, oof, a little residual, like, oh my goodness. But overall, I personally am feeling pretty buoyant. And I think that a lot of meditation and a little time down helped with that. How's your nervous system?
I'm good. I have been starting each day more or less off, just doing a little walk around my grounds here at my new home and getting acquainted with the plants and spirits of the land, if you will, and just trying to appreciate the life that is literally blooming, even though it's definitely winter weather out there. But apparently some things are actually supposed to do that. I am not a gardener, so I just saw things blooming and I was like, that seems like it must be global warming. And then I found out that camellia trees are actually supposed to bloom in the winter. They do bloom in the winter. They're winter blooming flowers. So I'm learning new things about the plants and animals that I'm sharing this space with here, and that I found has been a very literally grounding and centering activity to start my days with, and just being alive in the physical world around me, being appreciative for all the beauty and possibility and growth that exists in this little square patch of land in the middle of the city right next to the airport and the freeways. And still feeling like I am still in and part of nature, even in the very middle of the city, if I choose to be and if I choose to connect that way. So that's been good. It's also just a way of energetically just walking and claiming my space and my boundaries and that sort of thing. So it's been very helpful. It's a new practice for me since moving into this house. It's not something I did in our previous home, but it's helping me kind of stay grounded and rooted in my material reality in the moment and not getting swept into the psychic trauma and catastrophe of the moment. not to pretend like it's not happening or that it's, that I don't have some responsibility to contribute where and how I can, but to keep me grounded in my actual experience and boundaries, then it's a lot easier for me to have a grounded, resilient nervous system that can respond appropriately where there's work for me to do instead of kind of collapsing under the weight of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the more of us are able to foster those opportunities, right? Whether or not we are walking our lands, or you're looking at your plants, or you're looking at your kids, or you're looking at, whatever, right? Your pet, your mold collection. I don't know. It's yours. It's yours. Those toenails you've been keeping in a jar.
No,
not that. Probably not that. No. In fact, you know what? That person
Absolutely
isn't even
not.
listening to this. But everybody else,
if they are, it's time to release
it's time to
And heal.
release.
whatever's compelling you to do that.
I don't even want to think about what's compelling people to do. I've been watching too much true crime. I'm going to say that out loud.
Okay. I'm going to say that I find the jellyfish on the screen behind you very distracting because I've deduced that they are, in fact, jellyfish, but it's hard to tell sometimes. It just looks like white blobs exploding in black space.
For those who are listening, there are jellyfish on the screen for the audio patrons. But
You don't know
by
what
the
you're
way,
missing if you're not watching the video.
you don't know what you're missing. If you have some kind of way to access YouTube, you should join us there. If you don't have access to that, you can find us at strategyindsolidarity.org right there in the app, and we're going to be there for you. And you can see this. But also, with all of that, audio listeners, my goodness, I was looking at a thing, and guess what I found out? There's people all over the world who listen to this. I'm talking all over the world.
I don't.
I'm
believe it.
talking Greenland.
Greenland.
Greenland, South Africa.
What?
We have listeners. Yeah. I was looking at the analytics. I can tell you quite specifically, and shout them out, because
Well,
why
hey,
not?
friends in Greenland and South Africa.
Hey, friends. I
Can't
love
wait till
friends.
we can get there to do strategy and solidarity meetups.
We're going to be doing all sorts of things very soon. All right. Our audience is actually 50% women and men as self-identified, whatever that means to people. I don't quite know why that's relevant information, but that's what they decided to tell us. And the US, Canada, the UK, Kenya, not South Africa, my apologies, the DR,
Not yet. They're coming
Iceland,
soon.
and Russia.
Interesting.
Hey, what's happening?
I hope they're all real people and not bots.
Oh, yeah, Russia and Kenya. If you're
People
bots and
all in
doing
Portland
bad stuff,
using VPNs.
or yes, use your VPN. Listen, let's tank the algorithm. I don't need to know where you are. I shouldn't know where you are. That's weird.
No,
but
I want to know. Send us emails. Let us know you're real people
where do they
We wanna
send us
hear from you.
emails?
We wanna be
Where
friends
would they
with you.
send us emails, Teresa?
at info@strategyandSolidarity.org.
That's where to do it. That is where to do it.
I'm sure
But
there's
I
some
did
show
see
notes. We can
that.
put that in as well.
I did
That's
see
pretty
that,
cool.
and it was
I believe
very
at least half
exciting.
of those people are probably real people.
Yeah, very exciting to know where they're from. I know that there are listeners. That was exciting. I finally found the analytics button that let me see more than just the listeners on one particular site that is not necessarily to be named, because why, who wants to badmouth anything? But they pay Joe Rogan a lot of money, and we don't have a lot of listeners there. But the other places, yes, we do. So
Hey.
hello. Yeah, we're about to knock Joe Rogan. We're coming for that number 3 spot. Because
I would love for them to send us emails and let us know if they do, in fact, enjoy this amount of behind the scenes discussion.
Oh, everybody does. You need to
I
come on. I'm going to spread some more podcast love to you and share with you the numbers of creators who are just being honest now, because guess what? The world is sort of not as together as it was. And it is creating a level of bare honesty in folks who are creating, and not, piss poor production and don't do anything yucky, but real honesty when they're creating and having discussions about, if we're asking where our lives are and what's going on. Like, these are the things that are jazzing me, man. I'm jazzed, man. I'm jazzed to be talking to people in the UK.
Absolutely.
That's how DJs used to talk here, and that's embarrassing.
Were you a college DJ?
Oh boy, was I.
Were you? What was your radio show?
It was the jazz show, the morning jazz show.
You did a morning jazz show in college?
I did.
Interesting.
I did, my freshman year.
What was your DJ name?
My DJ name was, I think I was referring to myself as Bleak at that point.
You were DJ Bleak with Jazz in the Morning in the early 90s?
Not DJ Bleak, just Bleak. Hey, this is Bleak with Jazz in the Morning. Coming up right now, we're going to be listening to a classic from the one and only Thelonious Monk. This is Epistrophe. I'll be back with you in 5 and 5.
Amazing. How many people listen to your college radio jazz morning show?
Oh, enough that Whiteman felt compelled to call me after I had misnamed one of the class standards that I played as a B cut. So, I don't know. I've learned that getting hate mail and complaints actually means people are listening to what you're doing. And while I had not had the experience of having to apply that to many of the things that I've been doing, because I don't read reviews, as you know, since I've been editing and producing the podcast, boy, oh boy, do I see them. And man, boys are not well.
No.
Boys are hurting right now. They're not
I also
okay.
just, for a couple reasons, I just assume every troll on the internet is a bot at this point. And I know that's not numerically, statistically accurate, but it is helpful for my mental health. And I think at least like a good 50% of them are bots, maybe more. Like a very large number of the trolls out there, and they're all like coordinated swarm bots, and they all come out together and they comment like they're swarms. Like there really are a lot of bots out there right now.
Are you getting where are you getting swarmed? Did you get swarmed?
I haven't been on social media the last couple weeks very much. I just again found for my mental health that it wasn't super productive or helpful for me to be there. There's a part of my mind that really enjoys engaging in dialogue about lots of different random topics with people, but I find the conversations just tend to be pretty shallow and don't lead to real connection or movement. It's just kind of like a mental jungle gym or something, like for me to swing around on and have lots of thoughts and say lots of things and get a little dopamine when other people respond to them or don't or whatever. But
give me my dopamine.
Certainly,
Daddy Bezos, I want my hit. Yeah,
but I was spending more time on Threads. And it's just like there's more work.
My podcast buddy Jordan says that's not my bit, that dopamine, but that's not my bit. That's Jordan. I'm not going to pretend that I made that up. I didn't. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Definitely, when I was spending more time on Threads. And again, having consciously shifted that so that I'm focusing what real action I'm actually able to take, like in the real world and in community. The patterns get real easy to recognize very quickly. So one is all the people using ChatGPT to write all their posts. And most of them is about 3.5 sentences, and I'm just done. And I scroll on because I can't. They all sound exactly the same. I can't read that stuff. Even if it's like content I'm otherwise interested in, I just don't trust it. But then there's the bots, and they just all follow the exact same kind of pattern, whether they're MAGA bots or leftist bots or whoever they are. They kind of it all ends up with people calling me names.
Oh,
I mean, that's like when I used to try to go on dating apps or something. It had about a 50%, success rate of being called out of my name.
good gracious.
Right? So that's pretty much how the bots are too, and they're modeled after the toxic men. So it's just like, it doesn't faze me anymore. It's just like, oh, you can't have a conversation if someone gives you a response to your comments that don't align with your point of view. Then your only response is to call them names and insult their intelligence instead of actually having a discussion about the content we're discussing. And so certainly the bots are modeled after humans who do that as well, but so many of the bots just follow this exact same pattern, and there's no, whether it's a human or whether it's a bot, it's the same brick wall you're bashing your head into for no real outcome other than to waste your time and energy when there's other things that need done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, as you said, programmed sounding like those particular white boys. I mean, the thing is that they're programmed by those particular white boys as well, right? So
Yeah.
keeping in mind what the point of it is.
Sure, they corner the market, but it's certainly by no means only white boys.
Oh, no. But
Any
in
variety of
terms
boy.
of, yeah, no. If you're employing India and Kenya as your main source of labor, absolutely not. Of course, they're always looking for the cheapest labor. The vision that is being put out, right, and the script that is being put out by folks who have scripts that have exactly 7 to 9 points that they're going to make, and not more. And it's the same 9 points they've been making, and most of them were smoke screens to not say the thing that they have to say now, which is gimme. I mean, they're just done. They don't, there's no reason for anything anymore. It's just gimme. And
Okay.
Minneapolis is seeing what that looks like, and we're not willing to gimme.
No.
Doesn't seem like we're about to gimme. Seems like we're about to not gimme. If I were gonna say so.
That's one of the places I think where social media is useful, is that people are sharing firsthand reports and responses on social media for those of us who are not local to understand the extent of what's happening, especially in ways that mainstream media in particular is not reporting on. And what people are showing us in Minneapolis is what it looks like to get out in the streets with community again and not have our whole world exists online. Really, heartbreaking and tragic that it's come to this, but also really inspiring levels of like community activation and organization that's happening there with, literal, like almost block by block organizing. Because they're talking about having, hotlines or things that were like centralized places for people to call, but that was really ineffective, especially like in DC and Chicago, that have a hotline. They're getting too many calls, and it was taking too long to get people to go respond to where the incidents were. And someone can be, kidnapped in 4 minutes. And if it takes 10 minutes for someone to get from where they are over to where it's happening, they're long gone by the time you get there. So doing more like neighborhood and almost like block by block organizing so that people are out in the streets, even in the very freezing cold, below freezing cold, just keeping an eye on the street and the block and letting each other know when something happens so people from very nearby can come and mobilize, because it can't be a very shallow, widespread net across the whole city. It needs to be, who are the neighbors in, a 10, 12 block radius who are going to be able to come if something happens, and how do we alert them? And so doing lots of decentralized organizing with signal chats and things like that sounds pretty intense, and also really inspiring to see how people do show up for each other in crisis.
Is there, that you know of, or has there been an organizing hub or center that shifted the movement toward the more decentralized platform? I mean, because even to do block by block, right? That means each block needs to have a block captain or whatever. Each region needs to have a regional captain, whatever, such that, you know what I mean? Or there was that had to get diversified and dispelled in order for that to lock in as a pattern, right? Like for that, how did that get out? How did, or do you know?
I'm not there, so I'm hesitant to speak about it. I can say what I've
From what you've heard,
read, from what I've seen in folks' social media posts, and I think we can put the link in the show notes. There's an article from Mother Jones that was really looking at the organizing. I think there was like I think it was 612 hub. I'm guessing that may be the area code out there that was kind of helping to direct people towards their neighborhood groups. And it wasn't necessarily block by block exactly. It was more neighborhood by neighborhood, or maybe combining two neighborhoods that are next to each other.
I love block by block though. I love that hyperbole. That made me feel so good. I'm gonna think it, but keep saying what you're saying.
It sounds like, and again, I would listen to people who are actually there, but it sounds like it has been just kind of figuring it out as they're going, and starting with, getting whoever is willing to be on the chat and hosting ICE observer trainings, and getting those people to join the chats, and then creating subgroups for different regional neighborhood areas, connecting those in places where they need to be connected. Building a social network in real life, not on the internet.
Like in the old days.
Like in the old days. We're very out of practice with a lot of those techniques, given the state of the world and all we've been through in the past couple decades.
It's time for sure. Well, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it makes me think about a couple things around organizing and, strategy and solidarity. And one is, just that place of what I keep saying is like, don't start by organizing a protest, start by going to meet your neighbors. So getting to know the people who you physically share space with, because when shit hits the fan, whether that's natural disaster or infrastructure collapse or armed goons trying to kidnap people off the street, whatever the severe crisis is, the only people that are really going to be able to get to you are the people who are in your physical proximity. And whether or not they are our favorite people, or we like them or dislike them, at least having enough of a relationship that you know who they are and they know you, and that you have some shared commitment to like collective well-being in the places where you cross space and share space is enough. You don't have to be best friends. You don't have to agree on all political topics to be like, I have some water, you have some food, if and when we get to a crisis point. When I spent time in Cuba, it was really impressive to see. And I suspect a lot of this has begun to fall apart given the state of economics and infrastructure collapse in Cuba and how many people have left the island. But, in 2004, when I was a college student over there, they literally were organized block by block. And they knew, in case of a natural disaster, what their evacuation points were, who was the block captain, who was going to go where. They knew who had what training. There were going to be doctors and security folks and everyone who was needed in each of the evacuation centers. And they had just incredibly low fatality rates for natural disasters like hurricanes and flooding and that sort of thing, that in many other places have very high death tolls, because they were organized at that level. They're also organized at that level in case there was another U.S. military invasion. And everyone on the island had some level of military training and knew where they were supposed to go and what they were supposed to do in case of a U.S. military incursion. It hadn't been tested since the Bay of Pigs, but it was very effective during the Bay of Pigs invasion. And I wouldn't want to test it now because, again, things have continued to collapse so much over there. I don't expect there's the same level of capacity there was 20 years ago. But that level of thinking about what it really takes to organize on that level, I think, are the things we need to be thinking about, not just about what does it take to mobilize people for one protest on one day, but what does it take to build that kind of cohesive social fabric on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the absolute, to my mind, miracles of what's been happening in Minneapolis, and it couldn't have happened anywhere else in the United States in the same way, right? You've got a working class group of people who are committed to their city, who were the only group in that area to vote against Reagan, only group in that area to vote against Trump. I mean, these are not, they're union folks. They're very, very, very serious folks and have been for a very long time. The fact that the Ohio players are from nearby there, the fact that Prince is from there, like, should not be taken for granted in terms of the ways that they moved in their lives as well, right? Like, Prince went around for everything else that we know about him that is also true now, right? He was Machiavellian. He was a person who was in the rock and roll, acting like he was in the rock and roll, and everything that's very
Are rock stars
questionable that
problematic?
comes with that. A bit problematic. And all of that
Celebrity
said,
isn't healthy for human psyches.
so strange. And all of that
They're
said,
not all perfect people.
was still giving tremendous amounts of money to all sorts of causes, and would stipulate that the rule was, I will give this to you, but you can never mention who did it. Not while I'm alive. It does not get, don't bring it up. And
Are you saying Prince is responsible for the civil coordination in Minneapolis?
I am saying that there are groups that are funded all across the United States and have been funded and have been nationalized over the last decade of his life, that were funded directly by concert sales and record sales. And that's the kind of thing you can only do when you're living in that level of abundance where, you just don't know what the hell to do with your money anymore. And then it becomes, what is your moral center and what am I going to do with this? Right. Now, that's not a kind of world in which we live anymore. And that's not the kind of world that most of us live in. But what I've been so impressed by is seeing that same level of commitment on the streets. It is 10 below.
20
below, and people are out. People are out. This is the weather in which people do not start rebellion. This is why they were fucking with people at this time, because they wait. And usually rebellions pick up during the spring, pick up during the summer. They did this in the dead of winter on purpose, thinking that people were not going to get organized. They came to Portland. They got kicked out. They came, where else did they go before that?
Charlotte,
They were
North
someplace,
Carolina.
they were in North Carolina.
LA.
They were in Chicago. They're going back to LA
And
now.
they're still
bastards.
in all these places.
They're still around,
here.
but they're not
They're
doing
not
the bullshit
coordinated assault the way they are in Minneapolis, where they've sent 80%
because
of their
they
officers
can't.
to one location.
Because they cannot. It's not possible. There aren't that many ICE officers at all. And when I say ICE officers, I mean, again, we're talking about goons and Gestapo soldiers, right? And the people are completely unafraid. They know what the risk is.
Mm-hmm.
They know. I mean, we know what's already happened in terms of the 2 murders. I think 3 now that they've committed
9
in that
murders
area.
by ICE in 20.
In that area?
I don't.
No. I'm talking about in Minneapolis specifically.
There's been the 2 white people for sure in Minneapolis. I'm not sure.
There's at least 2.
There's 7 other people been murdered. I'm not sure about all of their locations.
This morning, I saw, I don't know if this happened this morning. I think it was this morning. It may have been yesterday. A woman was retreating from ICE. And lo and behold, these non-lethal weapons will take a thumb right off your body, it turns out. And when she started going into shock and fell down, they thought, hey, you know what we should do? 6 goons should tackle her now and arrest her. Saw a brother who was at a different protest also walking away and flipping them off, and then tackled to the ground, was able to identify himself before he was dragged off. And so I'm glad he was able to identify himself. But the people know what's happening, and they're moving, they're moving. I will also say that for one of ours, one of theirs, an ICE agent lost one of their fingers because they decided that they were going to put their hands in somebody's face, and somebody didn't like that very much. Had a nibble. We are in a civil war. It is not a cold civil war. The third thing that I saw was an ICE agent trying to tell an observer to stop following them, and ended their threat with, "You saw what happened the other day? You want that? Watch yourself." Like, just straight threaten to murder. Just straight threaten to murk him. And one person standing up to that, and I'll say it and I'll say it again, right? Because I'm repeating the lessons taught me by Kwame Ture. One person standing up against that ain't going to do shit. There's nothing that you can do, which is not to say that one person is not going to be touched by it in a sea of 900. But that sea of 900 also means that Gestapo group is not going to be moving forward in that area, regardless of which three they may happen to abduct from the front lines. We're off of trying to abduct folks from Southern America. They don't even give a shit. Americans, Latin Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, are you in the way? We're kidnapping you and putting you in a black wall jail someplace that you're not going to find, and it may be in Arizona. Good luck. Good luck. Oh, where did we learn it? The IDF. Yeah. The soldiers who were here running it with us, who trained us. That's who they learned it from.
I mean, sure, but we've also trained all kinds of assassins and military police all over the Western Hemisphere. We don't even.
Oh no, I don't think we're good.
Sure,
I don't think we're good.
Yeah, but like the School of the Americas has been training like kill squads that have terrorized.
Oh no, it's the return of the prodigal son, if anything. You know what I mean?
We didn't need the idea.
They learned from us. They came here because they owe us favors, and now they're doing them. You know. Jared was talking about what they're going to build on Gaza. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And that resistance movement that is that tight, right? That tight knit is the safety net, is the social safety net. You need to adjust your curtain there. You look like you're getting blinded.
Yeah, the sun has come through that one spot, but I think I'm okay if you can still hear me.
I can. Yeah. You look very comfortable. You look like you're in a lowrider.
Is it a civil war or is it the collapse of an empire?
Bay Area. What it is, what's going on. I am going back to the Bay, and I would love to see you there. Right now, it is SF Sketch Fest, and I'm going to be a part of it for the first time ever on January 29th. That is a Thursday. And on Friday, January 30th, I will be at the Lost Church, part of the stand-up showcase. Hey, Becky Brownstein. Come on, you want to see Becky. Your buddy Renku Daw is going to be there. JT Singh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be 7:30 Thursday night. Friday night, you're going to be able to see Timmy Booth. Once again, you're going to be able to see Becky. You're going to be able to see Ren. You're going to be able to see Zorba Javon Hughes, Angel Jin, Connor Longsdale, myself, and Christoph Zagdanek, I believe is the pronunciation. It might be wrong. Let's find out together. Yes.
I don't think
How do you frame it? The Revolutionary War was a civil war if you actually go back and look at it, right? Because there were people
sure,
who
but there were
absolutely did
also
not want that shit.
two armed sides who are fighting one another, and right now we just have one armed side oppressing other people.
Well, we have two armed sides, but one armed side who's just killing everyone, and the other armed side who's just standing around with their guns saying they're going to defend somebody and then
I
not.
don't know who those people are, but I don't think they're on our side.
You don't? Because that describes the man who was shot, the doctor. He was out with his AR-16 for the first day.
Again, that's not a coordinated military attack. That's a person with their concealed right to carry or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't draw his gun. He wasn't shooting at people. So I don't think
No.
it's a civil war because I don't see two armed sides fighting. I see one armed military superpower turning all of its power on its own people as it collapses its role in the global economy and its standing among world leaders and the functionality of its internal systems of control. Like, I don't see two sides in this. I see, like, to call it a war.
I missed the middle part because of my ADHD. Sorry.
Huh?
The middle part got stuck in my ADHD, but you're right. There's no two sides. The point does stand. The point does stand.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things. There was something I was listening to yesterday. There's on the media is doing some good reporting. They had one that I think I sent to you where they're talking to has a Scottish accent, but an economist who works at U.S. universities, a Professor Brown, I think. I never remember people's names, but I'll try to look it up and share the link. Was just talking about, on the media, they're talking about what does it mean that Trump's threatening to arrest the Fed chair, and what will it mean if, the Fed loses its independence? And he was like, basically that question is like asking me what happens if this rug burns when your whole entire house is on fire. The rug is not your biggest issue. And he had lots of smart things about economies and the deregulation of banks in the 80s and all the other things to say, like, it matters, but like we got much bigger issues right now than whether or not he actually arrests the Fed chair, which he's probably not going to do. And then they did another piece where they're talking about how ICE is using AI apps to identify people, and that's why they're arresting so many citizens and people with legal visas and work permits and other things to be here, is because they're just using an app with facial recognition, and they believe their app more than they believe the ID that a person presents. Even though the apps are known to cause errors, such as giving you two different names for the same person, and being racist, and not being accurate identifiers of people of color. Probably not for white people either, but especially for people of color. So they're just using racist AI to just randomly round up anyone they feel like it. And then say,
is it anybody but Grok?
What's that?
Is it anybody but Grok, or Grok's just out here doing this by himself?
Grok was not one of the companies that they named.
Oh, it's Grok. It's all Grok. It's not Grok. It's who was the big one? It was Motorola.
Palantir.
Motorola is now working directly with Palantir, and now all of the license plates are being pinpointed to know where you always go and travel all the time.
You don't even need your license plate. They're tracking information off your phone because the companies that put all those cookies on your phone.
You shouldn't have your phone with you at all. You shouldn't have your phone with you at all. Leave it at home.
In life, like, how you going to use your GPS to get where you're going?
I'm not. Leave the damn phone at home. Get a map.
For what? For your daily errands?
Yeah, for day-to-day stuff, for whatever. Yeah, get the don't.
If you're out on, like, quests for the community, sure, for sure. But like, how many people gonna leave their phone at home when you're using your GPS to get where you're going? We need to call whoever you need to call to tell them whatever you need to tell them. Like in theory,
they can wait.
Yes, in practice, seems very unlikely.
I'm practicing now.
like
been
it would be
practicing.
more
I'm trying.
helpful for the US to pass data privacy regulations as, the EU and Britain did, that would protect the government and these companies from selling our data to militia.
Yeah, there aren't, but right, where's
I'm just
again
saying, if you
that
have energy,
it's
is your
all on
energy
fire. It's all on
is
fire. There's not time for that now. We just stop carrying the fucking phone and get out. There's not time for let's pass a bill that says don't light the phone on fire too. There's no time. They're doing it. They're
I'm just
doing
saying,
it.
this seems like a very hard the odds of convincing enough people to stop carrying their phones around with them wherever they go seems very low.
Oh, I don't think there are good odds. I don't think there are good odds, and I don't think we would know any of the things that
You
we
really
know
gonna
if
drive to
we did.
California without your phone?
Watch.
No.
Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. No.
It's being silly now. It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. And there reaches a point. Well, one, I was like, I thought we already had this in like that Will Smith movie in like the early 2000s.
Enemy of the State.
There you go.
With Gene Hackman. That was a
Yep.
redo of a Gene Hackman movie from the 60s.
Was it?
People have been trying to warn us.
So their surveillance
Don't
was not
create-
that good at that time, but it is now.
Don't create an entire panopticon that we're all stuck in and you can't get out of.
We might need to go
way
get
that they
flip phones.
have created in prisons, because that's where the model was born.
Well, see, it doesn't even
and-
matter because even if I don't take my phone, my car also has a thing built into it. My car
And a
got
license
satellite
plate on
tracking
it.
built into it, and a license plate on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they did that on accident. I don't think we all have electronic traceable cars on accident. I think maybe the oligarchy had a plan.
I
that
don't
was
know
far
that
more
they're that
far-reaching than
smart.
ours.
I mean,
Really?
yes, but also it's more like if your car gets stolen, then the satellite could tell you where it is, and you can prevent your child from stealing it. And like, there's reasons that it's functional as well.
Yeah, now you're talking about why we give up our right to privacy, independence, and the ability to not be traced by the government. Those are the reasons. I mean, they've got my data. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean, I
hey,
think
you know,
once they're
take it, do
there, I'm
whatever.
sure they're like, how can we use this to our own purposes? I don't think they're smart enough to have had this master plan. I think they
You
look
think
for
that there's
opportunity.
anything that they've ever offered to the citizenry that they have not figured out before they give it to the citizenry in every single piece of equipment that they purchase,
They don't give it to us.
what
We
they
buy
can
it.
do with it?
Yeah, I don't think they're that smart. I've worked for the government. There's not that much happening there. Google was not planning to be what Google is now when they started Google. It has grown into this because people look for the opportunities
Sure.
for self enrichment, and
Sure.
they sell out to government when government's like, oh, we could use this to do blah 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 blah, and they're like, oh, you're gonna give us that much money? Sure. But I don't think it was a master plan ahead of time. I don't think they're that organized. I've seen how bureaucracy works.
The
It doesn't
government's
work
plan
like
is
that.
very simple, right? And because of the FBI and the CIA, it's very, very simple. We will destroy the chess pieces. We want all the money, and we're going to do anything we can to get it. Now, if anything is invented, what the government is going to do, and if
Who-
there's any evidence of the other, let me know. They're going to steal. They're going to insider trade. They're going to make themselves very wealthy. They're going to name libraries after themselves, and they're going to kick the homeless and the hungry dogs on the way in and out, and not give a shit. Except they're going to get up and cry some crocodile tears and talk to us about how much they care about us while they don't do shit in their Armani suits.
I mean, I
Or
don't.
there's something else happening that I'm missing.
Yeah, I don't disagree in the outcome of those things. I don't know who the government is, because the people running the government right now are not the people running the government 3 years ago, or not the people running the government 20 years ago. There's different people
It's
who
the people
come.
running the government 6 years ago. Absolutely, it is.
No, most of them quit and left, and they brought in loyalists this time around. It's not the same people who are running. Many of the people who were actual like conservative
Fair point.
bureaucrats
point.
all quit and left and were not fired and not hired back. So no, to say the government has a plan, there's not, one, man sitting there running everything. Now, are there a bunch of corporate people seeing what they can push and how they can lobby and how they can influence the system? Absolutely. But I don't think there's like, 3 people sitting in a room who decided we're going to put trackers in all the cars.
I don't think it's 3, but I think it's naive to think that that's not happening. 2025 is rolling out. That they didn't put that plan together in a year. They've been working on that since Newt Gingrich was in charge of those think tanks.
We're working on that since the 70s.
So
right. Heritage Foundation, they've been developing.
So get back to so how can that be true? And the government ain't the ones running a plan.
They were not the government for all of those years. There were other people running government, and then they figured out how to get back in and grab the levers of control. They have not had consistent control of all the levers of government for the last 50 years. They've been working on a plan. Government? They've been working on a plan to take control of all the levers of government for those years. When they've had access to the levers of control, they've pushed them as far as they could. But no, there wasn't one plan with one group of people effectively implementing it. The government is the people. And it's like the government is the enemy thing is not untrue, but it also is a very unhelpful narrative, because then there's nothing that we can build.
Because we can build plenty.
Because the government is just how we decide to govern ourselves, in theory. And if the government is the enemy, regardless of who's in control, then we don't build as much as we could when our people have their hands on the levers of control. We're just still blaming them for everything. We're not using our influence to push those things where we can, if it's always just like they're bad and evil and trying to do evil things. But I think we've gotten off on a tangent and a rabbit hole here. I don't think we disagree in the outcome of the world.
I don't think we do.
Pretending there's like the government is not a stable, consistent thing over time, or at least it has not been.
I think it's morphed and developed into exactly what it was planned to morph and develop into, which is
those
the
were not that
control of
smart.
white men.
Why are you giving them
They wrote it down that way. White men want all the stuff. That's all every document ever said. White men want all the stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, white men have all the stuff. How is that not what the government was designed to do, doing what it did exactly the way that it was meant to? And anybody up there talking shit about how it's meant to do anything else is just talking nonsense. How? Who?
I mean, yes.
And I'm not suggesting the new breed. I'm not talking about the new ones. I'm not talking about the Gen X's and the Gen Ys. I'm talking about any of the functional people I'm talking both sides. Schumer. I'm talking Trump. I'm talking Mama Lindsay. They are all girls. They all hang out.
If they were women, we would not be in this disaster that we're in. So I feel like that is a slur against women to misgender them in that way.
I wasn't misgendering them in that way. I was referring to them all girls from the place of like, hey girls, from, you know what I'm saying? But like, yes, I hear what you're saying.
Because if there were
and that's
actually
not
women
fair.
running things, we would not be in this situation.
If there were
toxic,
women
weird,
running things,
repressed
we'd not be in
white
any of these situations, but we are.
Okay.
And those frat boys, octogenarian frat boys.
There we go. That seems more accurate.
Octogenarian gay frat boys
Yes.
are out there. I'm sorry, Lindsey Graham has gone far enough in their life that their hormonal balance is such that I'm very comfortable saying, hey girl, the rest of it, you're right, too much. But it's the plan. None of them has ever retired. They've all been down forever. Mm-hmm. Trump was hanging out with Hillary and Bill before he was hanging out with these nuts. He just grabbed more power. This is the plan.
Sure.
This is
on that
the
level,
plan.
The U.S. Constitution is the group agreements of treasonous pirates, slavers, human traffickers, and genocidal looters. Like,
not to mention that it's completely plagiarized.
So again, the fall of an empire. Well, plagiarized and bastardized, right? Take the parts that you want to cover up what you're doing. Just appropriation, as it's always been. So, I mean, to my point, right, the fall of the empire. Yes, that's what it was set up to do. And people tried as much as they could, wherever they could, to take those levers of power and push them towards the pretend ideals that were written in there, to see if we could get the levers of empire to serve all the people instead of just white male landholders, as it was originally intended to do. We made some progress here and there. Sometimes, we made progress here and there. People are not still enslaved. Women have the right to vote. Like, there has been progress made.
I'm betting that the people locked in the sweatshops. I'm betting that the people locked in the sweatshops in Manhattan would and Los Angeles would have very different ideas about whether or not there was slavery.
Progress. We don't have open air slave markets. Women do have the right to vote. Progress has been made.
We didn't. We're capturing the slaves. You can go pick a baby now if you're white and rich enough. But yes, you're right. It's a slide back. That was not. Well, no. Hold on. I'm thinking.
It was never enough because, to your point, the system was designed with a particular purpose, which was genocide, enslavement, the enrichment of the few at the expense of the many. And though we're like, but maybe we could get this machine that's meant to do that, to do these other things, was unrealistic. And we did make progress in some ways. And the nature of the machine is still what the nature of the machine is. And it seems like the machine is imploding at this point. And it seems unlikely we're going to be able to recover that mythology that so many people are still attached to of American democracy.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm just saying, I don't think those people were smart enough to plan out like how everything has evolved the way it has evolved. But sure, if we get to just the plain simple values of what they were fighting for in the American Revolution, it was to be able to colonize whatever land they wanted to colonize, break whatever treaties they wanted to break, do whatever they felt like doing without oversight or accountability. Were the British better? I don't think so. Apparently they were trying to honor some of their treaties where the colonists were not. But it's not like the British were the good colonizers by any means, if you look at their impact around the world. Right. So where do we go from here? It to me is a more interesting question. I'm not going to, I just, for me, it doesn't seem useful to pretend or to believe that there's like 5 people sitting in a room calling all the shots. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe there are 5 people.
So where do you come up with these numbers though? I don't think it's like 5 people calling shots, right? But we know it is. How many of them is it? 4, 8. The ones who have all of the wealth, they absolutely are sitting around calling all the shots. Oh, billion.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like,
we're talking about that white boy who bought Clarence Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
You can buy a slave. Absolutely. That's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Koch brother. The other one is dead. So there's only one.
There's only one left. Yeah, no, I'm there with you. I understand these things.
Like I'm talking about the real I'm talking about the people who decide where money will or will not go, where resources will or will not go, who will or will not live, and make it a cold calculation right on a map. Like, yeah, okay, that's what it's going to cost for how much drinking potable water is going to cost to have AI? Word? Grok, do it. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like it's happening in real time. That's the part that that for me, and then watching the people who are defending it, not you, because you're not, obviously, nor am I, right? And back to the people who are, I wish bots. They're not. They're bot thinking. Certainly, they're bot.
Many
leaning.
of them are. A lot of them are bots.
If they're all bots, then what are we doing?
I didn't say all. I said a lot.
Then what are we doing?
Amplify the impact of
then let's turn this off. What are we doing then? What are we doing? If I'm not talking to bots, I'm not doing that. if the people responding to the things that we're saying and the things that we're doing are all bots,
I never said all, but sure. I said the trolls are bots. But anyway,
if all the trolls are bots,
okay.
that doesn't make. I mean, I understand what you were saying about how to navigate and trying to find grounding, right? And it is how people are thinking. We know it's how people are thinking because they're doing it. It's not new. They're just more liberated to say it out loud as they are doing it out loud. I don't doubt that there are members of ICE who that's their whole job. Hey, all right, you weak nerds, sit here and troll. That's you. Go do that. Absolutely. 100%. And I don't think that the people are very bright to be doing what they're doing, right? I'm not excusing that either. This $50,000 idea, this nonsense, bruh, it's $10,000 a year. You have to stay in for 5 years. And P.S.
What are you talking about?
Even if the $50,000 incentive to sign up for ICE.
Oh,
They do that over the 5 years that you're in ICE. So that's $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
For this full-time job, which P.S. they're going to tax, which P.P.S. if you quit, you have to pay back.
Bonus.
Like, y'all are not doing this right. You're not doing this right.
And unfortunately, there's always been people who sell out. There's a lot of them are just white supremacists who are living their white supremacist wet dream of going out to terrorize black and brown people.
Yeah, when you hear the
very surprising number of like black and brown folks out there and women among the ICE agents, and you're like, what are y'all doing?
Same thing they've always done. That's Jackie Robinson. Fuck him. Jackie Robinson threw Paul Robeson under the bus. Jackie Robinson was about, he was about putting himself up as close to white men as he possibly could. Fuck him. Broke a color barrier. I don't give a shit.
Well, and this is the thing too that's uncomfortable to talk about, and I do not say this in any kind of victim blaming or release white people from responsibility way. But again, white people are not all that smart. Unfortunately, there were people who were selling out their people, whether they knew the full extent of what they're doing or not, probably did not a lot of the time, but there's always been people who are willing to collaborate with fascists, with colonizers. And that's the reason that they're successful. Because again, white people are not superior, not actually that smart, did have to figure out how to convince other people to help them with their colonizer dastardly plans by playing on people's self-interest. And it's that place.
That's part of it. Go ahead.
Well, it's just that place when looking at Minneapolis that it's like, what are we willing to put on the line for our collective interests? Where are we willing to sacrifice our self-interest and our comfort and convenience and ease that we are so like addicted to as Americans to put something on the line for the collective well-being and to move and act and live and love for the collective well-being, not just for ourselves. If we really do recognize and see ourselves as beautiful, unique individuals, but only within our existence as a collective. Not a mindless collective like the pluribus, right? But it's like, the different, like the, what's it called? The rhizome, right? We're all different, variations on the same living organism coming up, and that the well-being of one affects the well-being of all. And if we move in that way, then lots of different things are possible. But we kind of have to figure out how to move past self-interest and ego and fantastic delusions of self-importance to move in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, not even I know that part of it is where, for me, I find the centering, right? In terms of how do we now let go of the ego, the need to dominate, the need to be the one in charge, the need to be building legacies and How do we both individually, right? But and individually is the part that I can deal with, right? I can work on in myself. I can work on in my practice. I can work on in the business. I can work on in the relationship with clients, and for them to work on with themselves. But to release the trappings of hypermasculinity as defined by the mythology of white supremacy that is taught to plebes and pawns of the system in every kind of educational system, such that we get to the point where, quite frankly, the government is being run by, and most people are not that willing to be aware, to look around, not that able, not that literate in terms of media literacy, in terms of political literacy, to see what is happening in a moment, which was part of the design, right? And our knowing that that was part of the design is not to besmirch anybody. It's just knowing that, such that, to what you were saying, we can develop the empathy to have a desire to help. Well, see, I was going to say to help deprogram and liberate people from that kind of thinking or whatever. But then it gets back to the thing of like teaching and and what about the ones who don't want to let go? And then what do you do with that? And, it's just, I don't know, nothing. Anyway.
I mean, I think the place where I feel my resistance in this conversation is this idea of design, right? And I can get with the like, there was a spell that was cast to benefit white men at everyone else's expense. And then we have continued to survive in an empire whose primary function and prime directive is that. Like, absolutely. But the idea that there's this like intelligent design and these masterminds planning all these things, like, I don't think they're that smart. Like, things go all kinds of sideways all the time. Things evolve and change and humans are not actually that predictable and pliable. Now, have we ended up with a system in which we're very susceptible to propaganda and spend all our time looking at screens and have our energy diverted this way and that way? Absolutely. We've ended up in these systems.
What were the schools for?
What?
What do you think the schools were for?
I mean, it depends who you ask. Every school was run by its own school board originally.
I'm asking you, what do you think the schools were for?
Which schools? When? Where?
What do you think elementary schools are for?
I mean, originally Teresa? They were for teaching children basic literacy and numeracy so that they could, run the family farm, I think.
And the histories and mythologies taught were for what?
Again, by whom, in what time and place and context, to socialize children into the system. But again, there's not like someone
has it ever been for anything else
designing every single thing. Like, that's not how education has ever functioned.
Has any school system ever been for anything but to socialize kids into the system and to get them to behave?
I mean, I think Montessori schools try to do that a different way. I think lots of teachers,
as a victim of them, no, not
have
really.
Tried here and there to teach children how to be critical thinkers and positive contributors to society. I mean, I think there's lots of variation. I mean, there's a part of this, I think, comes back to this like intelligent design, like Christian dogma that like God designed everything to be a specific way. And if that's your belief system, that's, fine. Everybody has their origin and their creation story. For me, that is not how I see that the universe or the world around me functions. There's not one specific
the people
design.
Who believed that brought it into accord in their government, did they not?
What?
The people who believed exactly that brought that into reality in their own government, and we now live under that yoke. Is that not right?
I mean, there are religious schools that were doing that. There was separation of church and state. Then there was a, ploy after World War II to start doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Was not a thing we always did. I mean, there's been lots of variation and evolution and progress.
There's been pull and push in the yoke. You're talking about at the edges. I'm talking about at the center. What is the thing? right? Not what are the mutations on the edges and the
Again,
far
I don't
reaches.
disagree with you
What is the
about
center of the
function
thing
or outcome. I disagree with you that there is some
and purpose?
mastermind designing that exact
I don't
function
think it's
to create
God.
that
Where do you keep
exact
coming back to
outcome.
this idea of a mastermind? That's not. I'm loving this discussion, by the way. I'm having so much fun.
I'm just
But
saying, I
who is the
believe I don't believe in
mastermind? What are you talking
design
about?
of the world. I believe in evolution of the world, right? Like that's my framework, my mental model for how I understand how life evolves and shifts and changes over time is not some intelligent design where there is a plan and then everything follows that plan. It's that things evolve. And yeah, you got people in power who are able to influence the levers of social control towards their desire, but not completely. I mean, Trump got all the levers of control. Things are not going his way. He's not that
Well, I mean, he's
smart,
got dementia and he's
right?
doing poo-poos all over himself. He's not really even there, but that's moot,
Again, when
right?
I look out at the world around me, I see just an incredible diversity of like, I think I talked about this one time too, of like why is there some truffula tree dandelion on top of like Crater Lake? At this very high altitude. Like, why is that there? Someone didn't design, like, I need this dandelion to be exactly here. There's dandelions, and then there's a billion dandelion lookalikes, and they look different at different altitudes, and like things in life evolve. No one person or one entity is designing things to go exactly one way. So that for me, I think is just a worldview place where you and I seem to conflict a little bit. And I don't think we disagree.
Only because you're writing a script for me. I don't know where you're getting the idea that I think there's one person designing all of it.
Because like that's you keep saying that was a plan and that's how they designed it, and that's.
Do you think it was one person who made that plan? Because I don't.
I mean, clearly not, because that's what I keep saying. So
yeah, no.
Who are the people you think it's the billionaires? I think is what you've said.
I'm talking about it has always been the wealthy. They're the ones who led the Tea Party. They're the ones who organized the numbskulls into the renewed Tea Party. It is the wealthy and the want to be more, the pick-me's who want to be as wealthy as the real wealthy, right? Mm-hmm. But they're the rich. They're not the poor. Marjorie Taylor Greene has never been that a day in her life. J.D. Vance, I'm sorry. Jimmy Bowman has not been poor since he was sold off by his mom for meth and then wrote some bullshit and threw his whole family under the bus. So, like, it's the same people with the same aspirations who absolutely are moving the bar to wherever they need to. Yeah. 15 is fine. That's good. That sounds great. What? They were what? 10 is good. They're not children at 10. Why is that a problem? The actual conversations that they are having right now in public, they are the same people who kept Sally Hemings in a hole next to their bed covered in wood to make it look like a floor. The same people. Nothing in terms of that and the people who try to find those levers of power. Name one. Jimmy Carter, maybe not. Okay, maybe not Jimmy. Maybe not Jimmy. Okay. Hands off Jimmy. Every other president to a one? Yeah, that's really what it wasn't the goal. I'm not suggesting it was the goal. Okay. But once you enter the machine, that's what you're doing. You go to the white party, you partying with Puff. You jump up in the White House, your job is how many people can you destroy? Get to it. I mean, that's all that it is. You can have a pet project. I mean, you can build a Carnegie Hall, or you can, fund that and allow the Rockefellers to do whatever they want and make it look like you're doing things, right? Hey, you get a weekend, you're still going to be my wage slave, but 2 days for you.
A weekend is a very significant improvement over no weekend. 2 days is
I'm
an
not
improvement over
saying
one.
it's not. How about
Sure.
not being a wage
Okay.
slave? That would be the
It
thing.
would be amazing. But if I have to be one, I'm gonna take a 2-day weekend over no weekends.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. No,
we shouldn't
I'd like a
minimize
three.
how many
I'd like
people
I'd like a
fought
4 day.
and died for that to
Oh
be
no, 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 no.
reality. Like,
Let's keep fighting. Let's get no. Our side
it
is
wasn't
right.
nothing.
No. The people listen. There's a difference. The people are who we were talking about at the beginning, right? Who's doing the block organizing? Who's blowing whistles?
Yeah.
Who's out there setting off your car alarms? Who's putting your body in the way? Who's biting off a thumb? Who's getting their
Absolutely.
thumb shot off? Those are the people who I care about,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I am not concerned with the reality. It is well, I'm concerned, right? But I am less concerned with them personally, the members of the oligarchy, those who would bend a knee to it, including the government, because I do not believe that the government is anything but an arm of the oligarchy. I don't believe it ever has been, not in these United States.
Sure.
And so anybody who is willing to bend a knee to that kind of a system for their own comfort deserves no comfort nor freedom. Now, that's an extremist piece of bullshit propaganda that doesn't work and doesn't really turn into anything except for war, and that's not really what I'm after either.
Well, no, it doesn't just turn into that. It turns into letting the people with the most extreme views take over the government because you've decided that to opt out, or that anyone who is involved in it is a sellout and a evil villain.
Oh, that's not what I said. I said those who are looking for comfort in exchange for their freedom don't deserve either. That's what I said.
Okay.
Didn't have anything to do with the government. I'm saying if you're willing to trade your liberty for a couch, fuck you.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
Trading government.
I don't know who we're talking about in what context. Like, I've just lost the thread of the conversation.
But that's what I said. I lost the thread.
You're talking about people who go in to work in the government, like bureaucrats or elected? Or are you talking about
no, electeds.
I don't know who we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about electeds. I'm talking about people who refuse to I don't know who I'm talking about. You know what?
I mean, I know a lot of very good people who work in the government doing good work, especially in our local government.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut a lot of this end. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, it's fair, but I mean, there's a lot of good people doing good work in our local government, in our state government. The electeds come and go. There's usually career professionals with integrity of varying levels of competency.
These clowns in their clown shoes in government. Yeah. No, I mean, there are. I remember when
we work with a lot of people in government.
People were trying to get
good work.
People were trying to get good government jobs when I was a kid. Like, that was a real thing. And it was because you were able to feed, it was about civic duty, right? It was not for, again, we plebes, we pawns. The belief has been that we were paying back to something that was paying to us.
Yeah.
And during the times where socialism was not a naughty word and was celebrated and was activated openly, that
when was
ethos.
That?
Oh, you were absolutely free to be there were socialist parties that were about to become full on parties. Robeson was a member of it. We're talking about right after.
You're not talking about in your lifetime.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the United States.
You got to let us know when you're changing eras, because it's hard to keep up with the time travel.
Again, I lost the thread like 20
Socialists
minutes ago.
Before the Soviet Union, before the Cold War.
Before the propaganda.
Yeah, there were socialist parties and Nazi parties, and then the Cold War.
And the Nazi parties did not have success except for the ones that we brought into the country and gave a whole state. But
I mean, they had some very big rallies.
Because we gave them a whole state. We can't be doing stuff like that. Arkansas, I believe it was.
Arkansas?
Yeah, they just it was either it was an A1. I think it was Arkansas though. They just for real, right? The United States did not want Jews here, which is why we made the deal with Hitler to go ahead and put them all over in Palestine, which they should never have been in.
I'm pretty sure that happened after Hitler was dead. He was not involved in that decision. That was the British and the French in the US after the end of World War II,
Trying to shuffle off where the Jews would go
dividing
because
up the
nobody
world
wanted them for
in
themselves,
their map. Hmm.
because nobody wanted to take any of them in, because yucky. The United States said, oh, but you know what we would like? Can we get some of those Nazis? And we brought them in so that they could work on rocket ships for us because we thought that they were very crafty.
Yeah. And
That's-
some of them
I don't
were.
know.
Hmm.
Again, I've lost the thread. I don't know. Well, it's just, I think this is the point of what they've been doing. I think this is the point. I think this is it.
Overwhelm and confusion.
Yeah, that's it. That's the stuff.
Okay.
From if they do what is it called when they do everything all at the same time? Blitzkrieg, but like
Flooding the
politically.
zone.
There you go. There you go. Because then I start flashing out like Jennifer from the podcast ladies and calling people names and being very upset that they're doing the things that they're doing rather than celebrating the successes like the people on the blocks.
People on the blocks, the Ground Avelo campaign got Avelo Airlines, which is a small regional carrier that was running most of ICE's deportation flights, to drop their $150 million contract with ICE to run deportation flights. Very effective campaign. Not that many people knew about it or were involved in it, but it was very specific and strategic and targeted and effective. And that's one I don't think enough people are talking about. The other one is that the DOJ and the Department of Education dropped their efforts to enforce their Dear Colleague letter they sent out to school districts and school boards last year, saying that DEI was racist and they're going to get sued if they kept doing any DEI anything. That's the exact phrasing. No, the gist of it. But they lost a second appeal and they finally just dropped their efforts to enforce that. Now, incredible damage has been done, which again is their point and their strategy is just see how much shit they can break that we'll never be able to put back together again and not care if they lose in court later and be like, okay, whatever, and move on to the next, chaos and catastrophe of their circus they're putting on. And like it still matters, like as much as those institutions are still functioning, to use them to try to, put out the fires we can and remember what it is we're trying to build out of the ruins on the other side.
I hope we can.
I mean, the empire is falling.
Hope that we can.
The empire is falling for sure. What we knew as the United States is not what our children and grandchildren are going to know 20, 30 years from now. This empire is over. As the British Empire fell, as the Spanish Empire fell, as the, Aztec and Egyptian and other empires fell. Like empires fall, they don't last forever. But for those of us who are the survivors of the fallen empire, I think it's a really important time to get really clear on what we're trying to build on the other side. That isn't just trying to salvage what's unsalvageable or move in wild reactive ways, but being really clear about like our values and our goals for what comes next and what kind of society we are helping to probably soften the ground for. I don't imagine it's one that you and I are going to be here to completely build, but to start planting those seeds and making way for what the young people are going to be able to do next, so that maybe it won't be tied to that vile history of genocide and colonization, but really thinking about what does it look like for us to live in right relationship with one another and with the earth, being that we are all divinely interconnected, whether we like it or not. We're getting ready to launch a new opportunity for you to come do some work with us and help think about that thriving world that we're all trying to build together. We have coming up Conflict Resolution for Anti-Fascists, and that is a live workshop you can attend via Zoom.
Come wrestle with some of these ideas with us.
On February 10th, that's a Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning Pacific time, or February 12th, that's a Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Check your local time zones if you're not on the West Coast of the United States. And then we'll have 2 weeks after that where we will be facilitating and moderating a learning lab to continue applying the frameworks and tools we're going to be offering in those live workshops to do some analysis of the successes and failures of past revolutionary movements, about what lessons we can learn and apply to the resistance we're trying to build now, and what it takes to start building effective coalitions and working partnerships with people, even and especially when we don't 100% agree on all of the same strategies and tactics. So you can check that out at strategyindsolidarity.com and learn more about conflict resolution for anti-fascists. And we'd love for you to come join us.
Excellent. Where can the people find you?
Mostly at strategyindsolidarity.org. We have a .org page, which is the app where the app lives if you want to sign in, and the .com page is kind of our info page that explains more about the community and our big events like conflict resolution for anti-fascists. Every now and then, if I am in the mood, I might pop up on some social media somewhere at TMC Logan is my handle most places. But honestly, I've been not spending a lot of time there these days as I'm trying to be more intentional with my energy in real life with the people and world around me.
All right. Also, if you are checking this out this Thursday, I will be performing Thursday and Friday in San Francisco as part of the SF Sketchfest. We'll be over at the Lost Church Bar. First show is at 7:30. No, first show is at 7. Second show is at 7:30. More information is available at sfsketchfest.com. And that's all I have going on right now. But this has been Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast brought to you by the members of Strategy and Solidarity. Thank you to all of our members for making this possible. You can find me by simply looking up my name. That's probably going to be the easiest way. And then if there is an app, a site, or a social that you like, see if I'm there. I might be. I might not be. I don't know. All right.
All right.
Let's land this bird.
Take good care of yourselves out there.
Take good care of yourself. Take good care of each other. Okay. Bye.